All eyes turned to Sarah in the dimly lit mess tent, forks pausing mid-air and conversations grinding to a halt. Corporal Jensen raised an eyebrow, his spoon hovering over his tray of lukewarm stew. "You Martinez, you're a medic. What are you talking about?" Sarah felt the heat rise in her cheeks, not from the stifling Afghan night air seeping through the tent flaps, but from the sudden spotlight. She straightened up on the bench, meeting their skeptical gazes head-on. "I'm serious. Back home in Montana, I was pretty damn good with a rifle. Better than good. My dad trained me from the time I was a kid, long-range shooting, wind calls, everything. I won competitions. Outshot guys twice my age." A few chuckles rippled through the group, more nervous than mocking. One of the medics, Private Ruiz, leaned forward. "Come on, Sarah. Everyone's got a hunting story from back home. This ain't deer season. We're talking about a ghost out there dropping our guys from distances our own snipers can't even return fire on." Sarah didn't flinch. "I know exactly what we're talking about. Over 1,000 yards, you said, variable winds in these mountains, heat mirage off the rocks. It's tough, but doable. I've done it. Give me a spotter and a good rifle, and I can prove it." The tent erupted in murmurs. Sergeant Williams, who had just walked in with a fresh pot of coffee, overheard the tail end and stopped dead. "Martinez, what's this I'm hearing?" His kind eyes narrowed with concern, the protective big brother vibe kicking in hard. She turned to him. "Sarge, you know I've been begging to go out on patrols. This sniper's killing us literally. If I can help take him down." Williams set the pot down heavily. "You're a field medic, Sarah. One of the best we've got. We lose you out there, and who's patching up the rest of us? Command's not gonna sign off on this crazy idea." But the seed was planted. Word spread fast on a small forward operating base like theirs. By morning, it reached Captain Reyes, the company commander, a no-nonsense officer from Texas who'd seen too many good soldiers lost to that elusive enemy sniper terrorizing their patrol routes. Reyes summoned Sarah to his makeshift office in a reinforced container. "Specialist Martinez, I've heard the rumors. You think you can play sniper because you bagged some elk back in Montana?" "No, sir," Sarah replied evenly, standing at attention. "I think I can because I was placing rounds on target at 1,200 yards before I enlisted. Competitions, sir, recorded scores. I can show you the trophies if my folks mail 'em over." Reyes leaned back, studying her file on his laptop. She'd aced marksmanship in basic, but as a 68W combat medic, she'd never been slotted for advanced schools. Women in combat roles were fully integrated now, but opportunities like sniper training were still rare and fiercely competitive. "All right," he said finally. "We'll qualify you on the range tomorrow. Our platoon sergeant from the scout sniper section will run it. If you embarrass yourself, this ends here. If you don't, we'll talk about getting you temporary attachment to the sniper team." The next day, under the blazing sun, Sarah stepped up to the firing line with an M24 sniper rifle borrowed from the unit's limited arsenal. The range master, Staff Sergeant Hale, a grizzled veteran with 2 tours spotting for snipers, handed her the weapon with a smirk. "Let's see what you've got. Document 800 yards to start. Cold bore shot, no warm-up." Sarah settled into prone position, her movements fluid and practiced, like muscle memory from a lifetime ago. She adjusted for the wind, light breeze from the left, maybe 5 mph, and dialed in the elevation. Breathe in, out. Squeeze. The spotter called it, center mass hit. Hale's smirk faded. They pushed it further 1,000 yards, then 1,200 on steel silhouettes. Sarah grouped her shots tighter than some of the qualified snipers watching from the sidelines. By the end, even Hale was nodding approval. Kids got the gift. Natural dope on windage. Better than half my guys on a good day. Captain Reyes got the report that afternoon. Against protocol, but with lives on the line, he made the call, temporary duty assignment to the sniper section. Just until we neutralize this threat, he told Williams, who protested fiercely. She's still a medic first. But if she can end this. 2 days later, Sarah deployed on her first counter-sniper mission. Camouflaged in a ghillie suit that swallowed her frame, she and her spotter, a quiet corporal named Lee, crept into an overwatch position overlooking the mountain pass where the last 2 ambushes had occurred. Hours turned into a full day of glassing the ridges, stomachs growling, bodies aching from immobility. Then, Lee's whisper crackled in her ear, movement. 1,400 yards, ridgeline east. Possible glint scope. Sarah's heart pounded as she confirmed through her own optic. There, a figure prone behind rocks, rifle trained down toward the patrol route below. The enemy sniper, finally exposed. Wind, full value from the right, 8 to 10 miles per hour gusts. Temperature hot, mirage heavy. She calculated quickly, adjusted the turret. Range confirmed 1,437 yards. Hold center chest. Lee steadied the spot. Send it. The shot echoed across the valley like thunder. Through the scope, Sarah watched the figure slump motionless. Target down, Lee confirmed, voice laced with awe. Back at base that night, the mess tent buzzed again, but this time with cheers when Sarah walked in. Sergeant Williams pulled her into a bear hug. Damn it, Martinez. You saved lives today. But don't think this gets you out of medical duty forever. Sarah smiled wearily, the weight of what she'd done settling in. She was still a medic at heart, healing the wounded. But now, everyone knew she could protect them too, from the shadows, one precise shot at a time. The patrols grew safer in the weeks that followed. The enemy sniper threat vanished, whispers of an American ghost with deadly aim spreading among the insurgents. Sarah returned to the medical tent most days, stitching wounds and saving brothers in arms the old-fashioned way. But when the call came for overwatch on high-risk missions, she was there, rifle in hand, proving that limits were meant to be shattered. And in the quiet moments, staring at the stars over the Hindu Kush, Sarah knew she'd found her true calling, guardian, healer, hunter. All in one. Sarah stood there in the mess tent, the fluorescent lights buzzing overhead, the smell of stale coffee and MREs hanging in the air. Every eye was on her now, not with laughter anymore, but with a mix of curiosity, pity, and lingering doubt. She didn't sit back down. She couldn't. The words were out, burning in her chest like the Afghan sun. Then let me prove myself, she repeated, her voice steady even as her hands trembled slightly at her sides. One qualification: shoot. On the range. With whatever rifle you've got. If I can't outshoot your best marksman at long range, I'll drop it forever. No more requests to go outside the wire. I'll stay in the med tent and stitch wounds like a good little medic. The tent went quiet again. Sergeant Williams rubbed the back of his neck, glancing at Jensen, who shrugged uncomfortably. Martinez, it ain't that simple. You'd need approval from the platoon sergeant, the XO, maybe even the old man himself. And even if you smoke the range, Command's not just gonna hand you a sniper rifle and send you hunting insurgents. But they might, Sarah countered quickly. Lives are on the line. 3 more hits today alone. That ghost out there isn't waiting for bureaucracy. If I can prove I'm capable, really capable, someone up the chain might listen. A long beat passed. Then Private Ruiz, who'd been quiet the whole time, spoke up softly. She's right about one thing. We're short on snipers. Scout sniper platoon's spread thin across the whole AO. If she's even half as good as she says. Jensen snorted, but there was less mockery in it now. Fine. I'll bite. I'll take it to Staff Sergeant Hale tomorrow. He runs the range and quals. If he thinks it's worth his time, maybe he'll let you shoot. But don't get your hopes up, Martinez. Hale's old school. He doesn't hand out chances to support Moes just because they ask nicely. Sarah nodded, holding his gaze. I don't want a handout. I want a target. The next morning, word had already spread like wildfire through the small fob. By the time Sarah stepped onto the dusty firing range, a small crowd had gathered. Off-duty soldiers, a few curious Marines from the attached unit, even a couple of medics who followed her out to watch. Staff Sergeant Hale stood waiting, arms crossed, his weathered face unreadable beneath the brim of his cover. He was built like a brick wall, with a faded death from afar tattoo peeking from his sleeve. Classic scout sniper. Beside him stood Corporal Brooks, the unit's top designated marksman, holding an M110 semi-automatic sniper system like it was an extension of his body. So you're the medic who thinks she's Carlos Hathcock reincarnated, Hale said flatly as Sarah approached, rifle slung. She was issued a standard M24 for the shoot, no favors, no special optics beyond the unit's Leupold scope. Yes, Sergeant, Sarah replied, standing tall. I just want a chance to qualify. Hale studied her for a long moment, then jerked his head toward the line. 5 rounds cold bore at 800. Then 5 at 1000. Then we'll see about pushing it further. You miss more than one, you're done. You group tighter than Brooks here, we'll talk. Brooks smirked confidently, giving Sarah a nod that said, nice try, Doc. She didn't respond. She just dropped prone, settled behind the M24, and began her ritual, checking the rifle, breathing slow, feeling the dry mountain air, the faint crosswind coming down the valley. First shot at 800 yards, crack. The steel plate rang clear. Center, the spotter Kaye.